So first of all, I would like to welcome everyone to this media briefing. My name is Hannah and I work among others on the communication of the market analysis tools developed by the International Trade Center. Thanks to the support of the European Union, the market analysis tools are now free for all EU users, from small businesses, from business support institutions, policymakers, university students to journalists and important voices in the trade community as yourself. So I only have a limited amount of time today, so I will not be able to go into detail of some technical aspects or show you all the tools and their functionalities, but I will give you an overview of the most pertinent information available in our databases. And afterwards, my colleague Kaylee will tell you more on our new monthly briefs on the global state of trade, which draw from these ITC statistics and goes far beyond. So we will address any questions you might have at the end of the session, but please feel free to write them down in the chat at any time. I would like to start by showing you a few articles. Here, one second. Here you can see one article in the Wall Street Journal from 2017 on the US raising duties on imports of certain Chinese products. Here we have one from 2019 from Business Insider on the trade war between China and the US. This article from Bloomberg in May 2020 talks about how governments were dealing with the COVID pandemic. And here we have one from Reuters in 2021, which talks about some unexpected effects of the COVID pandemic related to international trade. And what all these articles have in common is the fact that they all cite ITC statistical data to support their analysis of current affairs all over the world. So in 2020, our data was referenced on average 76 times per week globally, and this number keeps growing. We currently have 214 journalists in our network, and last year we passed the mark of 1 million registered accounts to the market analysis tools. They were initially designed in the first place to promote transparency in international trade and availability of market information as a public good. So they have been completely free for users in developing countries since 2017. So small businesses were able to make informed decisions and increase their participation in the world economy, and this way create new opportunities for themselves. Let me go to the next slide so I can give you a little overview of the tools. The first one is called Trade Map, which is one of the largest databases on trade flows in the world. It includes trade flow data on 220 countries and territories and covers all products coded according to the internationally recognized harmonized system, the HS code system, more easier said. The data are updated on a regular basis. For example, we already have July 2021 monthly data for some countries like the US, Japan, France, Thailand. The second one you can see is a market access map, which allows you to analyze market access conditions like tariffs and regulations applied to your products and compare them to what competitors facing or what other destination markets are charging to their exporters. The next one you can see is export potential map, which directly calculates potential for a product's export to a certain market and how much of this potential has already been realized. So this is a very statistical and very further developed tool than the others, and is very interesting as well. And then we have other tools that focus, among others, on rules of origins, where we have over 400 trade agreements which are analyzed. We have one on market prices, on market prices, which gives agricultural product prices for over 300 products. We have one on sustainability voluntary standards and foreign direct investment and procurement here at the bottom. So this list is not exhaustive. There are many more portals we work on, but these are our core activities. You can find all these tools directly through one dedicated portal. which I will not show you right now, but we will give you the link here and we will send it to you at the end of the session as well. But it is important for you to know that you can create an account through here or directly through the tools. And you can use the promo as press. You can use the promo ITC for press to become a part of our journalist network. So I will go live now to the first portal, which is called TradeMap, and I think it can be very valuable to your research. Let me start the new share of my screen. Okay, share. Okay, we're there. Perfect. So the first one I mentioned was TradeMap. So this is the homepage of TradeMap. And you can register your account and log in here at the right top corner. As you can see, there's many different buttons and many different tabs, but the home and search is the one you always want to go back to if you want to start your search. So you can choose if you want to look into exports or imports here. You can choose if you want to look into services or products. Then you fill out your product code here. And for this example, I will take wheat because of the effect of droughts on the supply chain a bit and the prices, current prices. So you type in your product, and if you're lucky, you find immediately the code that belongs to your product. Because I was looking for wheat and meslin. Meslin is a type of grain which they also make flour from, and they're coded under the same code as wheat. So I would take wheat and meslin here, but if you don't find your code directly, you go to advanced search where you can find by using some terms, you can find all the codes that could correspond, or you can go into hierarchy of the harmonized system coding to find what you're actually looking for. I cannot go into detail there, but it's a very good tool. And here you can find all the regions that we have available, but you do not have to fill anything out there. If you don't want to look into a specific exporter or market, you leave this blank. So we have a global overview of the imports of wheat and meslin. Then you have some buttons here. So we can go into the trade indicators, which shows you the latest available year of the trade flows of this product. But you also have other monthly series, quarterly series, or yearly time series. But I want to look into the trade indicators because it gives more information than just the raw data. It also calculates certain trends, etc. So I will go straight to the trade indicators here. Okay, so automatically this is the table you always get. And you can see here the product you chose, the country. We're looking at all countries, imports, and we're looking at the trade indicators by country. And this table is always ranked according to the value you're looking at. So here, the top line, you see the world imports of wheat and meslin, which is 47 point something billion US dollars per year in 2020. And then you see a list of the top importers of wheat and meslin. So Egypt is the largest importer with 2.6 billion. We have Indonesia with 2.6 billion, and Turkey, which is the top 3 importers of this product. Then you have a trade balance you can look at. You can look at the quantity imported in 2020. You can look at the specific market's unit value here, but an important one, I think, is these 3 columns, the annual growth columns, where the first column shows you the annual growth in value in the last 5 years. And we can see that the value on average per year has been going up, has been 4% per year. On a global level, Egypt follows this trend. It goes a little quicker at 5%, Indonesia at 2%, Turkey's imports are growing at 31%. So that's this column. Then the next column shows you the annual growth in quantity between 2016 and 2020. So it shows you how much of the product is actually passed through customs, and this is declining. It's growing at minus 59%. So we can say that the amount of wheat and muslin has imported has been going down. However, the value has been going up. So we can actually see the effects of some things happening in this sector, and the wheat and muslin has become much more expensive over the last 5 years. Then the third one goes just over 1 year. So you can compare that with the trend over 5 years. And in the last year, the growth in value has still been going up at 8%, has been growing at 8%. So that's what I want to say about this table. I invite you to play around with it, because if you click on these titles, you can sort the table according to what you want them to sort. So it's very flexible in that way. You can also look into exports here. So you see the top exporters of wheat and muslin there. I want to show you also the time series and what you can do with time series. So I will start from the homepage again with another product that shows you a little bit more seasonality, so we can look into monthly data. For example, the toilet paper example from 2020. Sorry, there's a little bug there. But during COVID times, a lot of people were hoarding toilet papers. So I want to see if you can actually see this in our data, and you find toilet paper here directly. If you don't find it, you go to advanced search, but I can see toilet paper rolls in a width of less than 36 centimeters here. So that's what I want to look at. From my previous research, I know that China is the largest exporter. So let's look at the exporter, China. And now I click on the button monthly time series, because I want to see what happened there. And automatically you get a table of 12 months, the last 12 months available for this product. And of course, the importers that have reported, no, China has reported these monthly data, sorry. You can look at more months if you want. So you can look at 20 columns in one page. You can also show more importers of China's toilet paper, so you can play around there. But I like to go to the graph to see if there's any seasonality and spikes in imports of toilet paper. And this is automatically showing you the top 5 importers of toilet paper from China. And so we can see that this is Hong Kong, Japan, Australia, the US, the Philippines, and we can see some spikes for all these markets going up. But of course, I want to look at the European Union and see what happened here. So let's go to the EU 27 as a partner group. So we look more into detail into the markets we're interested in. And you can see that in the EU, the spikes are even much clearer. Here, the yellow line shows you the aggregate of the whole EU together. And we can see that the imports of toilet paper have grown exponentially during this month, the 3rd month of 2020. So this is March, April, and May. It started to calm down a little bit. But this is how you can look into trends and see some seasonality in data for your research. Last things I want to say about TradeMap is that you can download all this data for your own analysis. So you can make your own graphs as well. You can download the graphs from here. You can create your own product groups if you are interested in a certain combination of products, your own country groups even, if you have a registered account, of course. And it's available in different languages, so French, Spanish, Arabic, and Russian. I don't have much time left. I want to go quickly to Market Access Map, and I'll show you the homepage because it can give you already a lot of information. So I want to look at my wheat example again, because France is one of the top exporters of wheat. So let's look into France. I'll take, for my example, Morocco as a destination country. We type in wheat, and normally it gives you automatically some options as well. Here you only have 6-digit level codes available, so you already need to know which wheat you want to look at. But for this example, I'll take durum wheat, which is the wheat that is often used for pastas, etc. So it's a commonly traded wheat. But if you're not sure, you can always go to the advanced product search in this tool as well. So you search your product and your query, and here you can see that there's even more digit codes, which are the national tariff line codes, and these codes are defined not on an international level but on a national level. So this is different per country, and these are the codes that Morocco gives to durum wheat type of wheat and muslin. So look into this and select the one you think is relevant for your search. We'll keep the first one for this example. Because customs tariffs are levied on this national code. Here we can see the overview of the customs tariffs that could be applied. So MFN duties are the duties that each WTO member would pay in this market, which is 2.5% on the imports of wheat in Morocco. And then we have preferential tariffs. If available, it shows you. If they don't exist, it won't show here. But these are attached to a trade agreement between the EU and Morocco. And then if exporters can prove that their product is from France, they can trade at a 0% customs duty. And if you want more information on how to prove that your wheat is from France, you can go into the trade agreement details and look into the rules of origin, certificates of origin, and the agreement text. So this is all available in Market Access Map. The homepage also gives you information if there's any trade remedies levied on your search, but this is not the case for wheat from France to Morocco. And then we have an important section as well, which are the regulatory requirements or non-tariff measures that are applied to this product. And you can see that there's many regulations to enter the Moroccan market you have to comply with for your wheat to be able to go. And it's not related to any trade agreement. It is just the rules, the regulations for your product to be able to enter this market. It can be from labeling to health concerns to residue limits, etc. I will leave this there, but if you want to look more into detail, you can go to the Access tab, the Compare tab, so you can compare markets, competitors, or even products and their tariffs. You can analyze the trade agreements, you can download data. And I invite you to visit the COVID-19 page for temporary measures that are levied, measures that are put in place by governments related to COVID-19. This is very recently updated. Here we have September 23rd was the last update. So this is very up to date, and you can look into which countries have been restricting their trade, have been liberalizing their trade to be able to have a proper supply of PPE, of certain products that are important related to COVID. I will stop my presentation here because I want to go to Kaylee and I see that I'm out of time. But I also think Export Potential Map could be a very interesting source, because it shows you already the analysis made for you. So you can fill out wheat, for example, here, and you can find which markets have a lot of potential for wheat, which exporters have a lot of potential to export this wheat. So it's an interesting tool as well. So as I mentioned, they are free for EU users, and they can help businesses, particularly small businesses, increase their international trade opportunities. And I am convinced that this information will be also a valuable resource for your research and content. So please do not hesitate to share news that this is becoming free for EU users with your colleagues and readers. So Kaylee, I will give the floor to you now. Sorry for taking too much time.
No, thanks, Hannah. Hi, my name is Kaylee, and I work for the Trade Data Tools and Analysis team here at ITC. I'm going to walk you through the ITC's new monthly series on the global state of trade. So I will share my screen. And can you see my screen all right, Hannah? Yeah, great. Okay, so the trade briefs are a web-based platform that draw from the tools that Hannah just introduced and take that data and package it in a way that is easy to digest and easy to customize. So the trade briefs can be found at this URL, which I will share at the end of the presentation, but you can also Google ITC trade briefs and you will find them that way as well. So the trade briefs have 5 sections, 4 of which are always included and 1 of which is only occasionally included. So those sections, the ones that are always included, are key takeaways, trade trends, market access, and spotlight. And special topic is the 5th section that is only occasionally included, and we will go through each of those sections in turn. I want to draw your attention to this option here to download the issue. If you select that, you will get a PDF printout of all the charts and the text that we are going to see today. You will notice that it says beta here. The trade briefs were launched in May, so we're still working on improving them. And if you have any thoughts about how we could improve them or content you'd like to see, please let us know, and I'll share the email where you can contact us at the end as well. So let's get started. At the top here, you can select the issue you'd wish to view. Right now we have the August issue. The September issue will be released next week, but you can also select to see earlier issues as well. Here we have the theme of the spotlight and the special topic. And here is our first section, the key takeaways. So the key takeaways summarize the main messages from each of the other sections. And here we have some text, and we will see the data underlying those key takeaways later on as well. And we also have some infographics here. Okay, so this is our second section, trade trends. And in trade trends, we can see that year-on-year growth in global exports was 35% and month-on-month growth was 6% in June 2021. And all this data is representing export growth in value and not export growth in volume. We can also see that exports from Africa grew 72% in June 2021, and that exports from Africa have been outpacing export growth from the other regions since about March 2021. We can also see that exports from LDCs grew 42% in June 2021, which was more than export growth in developing countries and developed countries. We can see that export growth in minerals, which lagged behind the export growth of the other industries, was 73% in June 2021. And underneath the graph, you will see this option to download as an image. If you select download as an image, you will get this graph that you see right here with the selections that you've made. So if, for example, you want to look at industry, but you only want to see minerals, and you select download as an image, you will get that image. You can also look at the month-on-month growth, and if you select download image, you will get that graph. And this works for all the graphs that we will see in the trade briefs. Below this chart, we have some data or we have some text rather that is generated from the data. And this text is just here to help you interpret the graph. Next, we have year-on-year change in exports by country. We can also look at year-on-year change in market share by country. And here we're looking at year-on-year growth for countries, and we can color code those countries by region or development level. We can also select up to 5 countries that we would like to label. So we can label Switzerland, Germany, Nigeria, China, and Palau. And there's Palau down there. So when we label these countries, this is to help us visualize where they are on the chart. We also have a tooltip that we can move around to see other countries. And if you select download as image, the chart that you get will have those labels attached. Next, we have year-on-year change in exports by sector. And if we scroll down, we can see that all sectors grew, they had double-digit growth in June 2021, except apparel and textile products. And if we look at vehicles, we can see that vehicle exports grew 35%, and that was driven by motor vehicles and parts, which grew 40%. The third section is a section on market access. And within this section, we have data on the number of COVID-19 temporary trade measures. So in response to COVID-19, many governments enacted temporary trade measures to ensure access to medical supplies or other important goods. And Hannah touched a bit on that. This data comes from Market Access Map. So you can always select this link here to learn more about the specific measures. And in this chart, we can see that the number of measures increased dramatically between March and April 2020. We can also see that most of these measures apply to medical goods. Next, we have 2 graphics that look at 2 types of measures. You can look at either export restrictions or import liberalizations, and we can see the number of those measures by type of product and region here. And we can also see which countries implemented those measures or have repealed them. Next, we have data on SPS and TBT notifications. SPS and TBT stand for sanitary and phytosanitary measures and technical barriers to trade. And under WTO rules, WTO members are required to notify changes in these measures to the WTO. So this data pulls from those notifications. And from looking underneath the map, we can see that in June 2021, members submitted 411 new notifications. We can see that Brazil submitted the most notifications and that many countries in Africa did not submit any notifications at all. We can also look at the number of SPS and TBT notifications by region, sector, or objective. For example, we can see that horticulture was the sector most frequently cited in these notifications, and that protection of human health or safety was the objective most frequently notified. This brings me to the 4th section, the spotlight section. This section is included every month, but the theme changes. It is a place for us to highlight data that is not updated on a monthly basis. So all the data we've seen up to this point, exports, SPS, TBT notifications, temporary trade measures related to COVID-19, those are all updated monthly or even more frequently. But the Spotlight section is a place for us to highlight data that may be updated, once a year, twice a year, etc. So past issues have included themes such as export potential projections, data on regional trade integration. Future issues will include data on voluntary sustainability standards, trade and services, and foreign direct investment. FDI will be included in the September issue, which is coming out next week. But for the August issue, we partnered with the World Tourism Organization to analyze data on travel restrictions and travel exports during COVID-19. So in this chart, we can select the toggle to see the change in travel restrictions between summer 2020 and summer 2021. And these circles here represent the share of travel exports in GDP. So the larger the circle, it means that travel makes up a larger share of GDP for that country. So for example, we can see that in Bahamas, travel makes up 30% of their GDP, and in Aruba, travel makes up 63% of their GDP. Next, we have a chart on the evolution of travel exports for the world and a number of countries that have high travel export to GDP ratios. So we can see that travel exports really fell off quite dramatically in 2020. And we see that in the Bahamas as well. We also see that the Bahamas is not recovered or recovering very much. And in Aruba, we can see the dramatic decline, but they have a little bit of a recovery, although they haven't reached the levels of previous years. So now that brings me to the special topic. So the special topic is the 5th section, and it is only occasionally included. For the August issue, we partnered with the World Tourism Organization to, they guest wrote this piece that dives a little bit deeper into travel restrictions and tourism during COVID-19. Past issues of the trade briefs have included excerpts from the SME Competitiveness Outlook, which is ITC's flagship publication, as well as research on the trade effects of the African Continental Free Trade Area. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. As I mentioned at the beginning, this is really a new series, and we'd love to hear from you if there's things you think we could improve, if there is content that you'd like to see, and you can email us, and I will share that email now. I will also share with you now the URL for the trade briefs. So here is the URL for the trade briefs. And the email where you can contact us. Thank you so much for your attention. I'm happy to open it up to questions now.
Let's stop the recording.